everybody, I'm Kate Conroy.
And I'm Vinny Sabatello.
And this is Other People's Business, which is the podcast from the New Jersey Business and Industry Association, which is the largest business association in the country. Sorry, largest statewide business association in the country. I always forget statewide.
Yeah, it's important.
It's important. For more info on us, visit njbia.org. We release a new episode every other Wednesday, so be on the lookout for that. Shout out to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance. They provide home, auto, and workers' comp, and they are the official sponsor of the show, so if you need some updated coverage, check them out.
All right, just a couple housekeeping matters before we get started. This show airs every other Wednesday on iTunes, Google Play, Android, Alexa, anywhere you can get a podcast, we're going to be there. If you're not into the whole podcast thing, for whatever reason, we're not going to judge. You can also watch this show on YouTube, catch these smiling faces every other Wednesday. If you are watching this on a podcast network that allows for ratings and reviews, like in iTunes, we would totally appreciate the 5-star review. It helps us get discovered by more awesome listeners just like you. And we would totally encourage you to subscribe. It can be hard to remember to jump in here every other week and catch the show. Go to njbia.org/subscribe. They'll let you know whenever we're new.
Exactly.
So with us today from Archer Law, back again for our 50th episode, is one of our favorite guests, Laura Link. Say hi, let the audience hear your voice.
Hello. So happy to be back.
Welcome
and I
back.
can't believe you're on your 50th episode.
Me
Congrats,
either.
guys.
Can I just tell you?
I know. I think you were like episode 4 or 5. You
Somewhere
were
in there.
really
I was
early.
definitely in the top 5, and I like to think I'd stay there.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Kate name drops you like every few episodes. Like, let me just tell you.
that's only because I cursed.
Well, you were the first person to curse, but also the and that's okay. We're not, upset about that at all. But
That's why we have the beep.
that's right. That's why we have the beep. But your episode is the reason why we had to go from like rated
G or whatever. to PG or PG-13, whatever it is. Yeah.
It's an illustrious position.
There
that
was
you
talk
hold.
of Gumby pornography.
That's
So if you want to like know what we're talking about on that one, I totally encourage you to go back to the episode. It was called Things Never to Do at Work.
That's right. Yeah, I still have never Googled that, although I have spent a lot of
Do
time.
you need to though?
No,
I
I
feel
don't.
like
But
I feel like the actual just wouldn't live up to
I'm
the
curious,
visual you
aren't
get.
I was gonna say. I think you just let that lie.
Just let it lie?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's better left to the imagination.
You're probably right. You're probably right. So today's icebreaker is, and this is a hard one, is there any amount of money that someone could pay you to eat a live spider?
Oh, easy. Done. What
I
kind of
knew you were
spider?
gonna say
I know, like, how
Let's
big are we
back up.
talking about
Is
here?
it poisonous? Am I going to be hurt? Or is it just
mean,
like the
Let's just
yuck
assume for the
factor?
sake of this, no.
No,
Yeah.
you're not going to be
It's just
hurt.
the yuck factor.
Right.
The yuck factor, sure.
How big is it?
Yeah, how big?
Is it
don't
like
know.
a bird-eating
How-
spider?
Like the bird eater? I don't even know.
Differences,
Like,
you know.
I don't know. So, like, yeah, big enough to be gross.
Do I get to cook it?
No,
no,
live.
right, live, yeah.
It's got to be live.
Live. Yeah.
So,
How much money, though?
Right. Well, what is the amount of money that you...
I'm in without any money involved at all. Just bragging rights. I feel like it'd be pretty cheap, though, if it's a small one.
Wow.
I mean, it would be...
okay, yeah, if it's like your garden variety, like whatever. I mean, they say we eat those by accident. Like, what is it,
Right,
like 8
7
times a year?
a year.
Yeah, something like that.
Nonsense.
No, I'm thinking like the size of a daddy long legs. Something like big enough to
Even that,
see
like if
and-
there's no girth to it.
There's no girth.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not talking a
if you talk about tarantula, like
Can I
what-
feel the
yeah,
hair in my mouth?
The hair.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
hair.
So for me, the answer is no. There is no amount of money that somebody could pay me to eat a live spider. I just don't think I can
Wait.
do it.
I mean,
$1 million?
Yeah, $1 million. I mean, okay, when we start to get into like absurd amounts of money, like I wouldn't do it for $1,000. I'm telling you that right now. Like, would not. I can see
You're
that
like,
in my head. Like,
sign me up.
do not like no, it wouldn't happen. But like when you start to approach $1 million, yeah, maybe I don't know. Like
900,000. You do it for 900,000.
I might. I'd consider it at 900,000. Like $2 million, definitely would do it. You know. But
I'm feeling real self-conscious about my limits here. I'm eating a small one for like $500, but like a big one that I have to like take the legs off.
Oh,
and fit
no,
it, like
oh, see, I don't
mean,
think you
then
can
I
do
want
that for the purposes
like
of this. Once you
100,000.
start taking the legs
But
off,
I'm
you probably
still
die.
doing that for $100,000. Like,
Yeah, I don't even know that $100,000 would make me put a tarantula in my mouth. Your daddy long legs, the little ones, yeah, $20. I don't know.
$20?
Maybe
Cheap
not.
date.
I don't know, but like one bite and it's gone. You know,
I
like
mean, bugs in many other cultures are like
I know,
delicacy.
appetizers, right?
delicacy, normal to eat. Like, yeah, so just as long as it's not going to hurt you.
yeah.
I don't want to be sick or like get
Right.
bit on the way down
Yeah.
or something like that. But if that's not a concern, I'm in.
But that's why they're giving you the big bucks, or like what it is that you're putting on the table to say this is how much I want, right?
Yeah.
I
think you should reconsider your position.
Yeah. So what is it about it that, you're just like, there's no amount of money whatsoever? So somebody waves $100 million in your face, you're like, no.
All right, so you know how like when you eat a bowl of popcorn, for example, after the bowl is done, you can still like, there are like kernels in your teeth and you can like the ick factor of like finding legs, in places that just didn't get.
And you'd have to chew because otherwise you might feel it crawling.
Correct. Yeah. Like if you could do it like taking a pill, like put it in the back of your throat and just chug some water without chewing, maybe I would consider it. But I mean, if it's going to be any amount of money, it would have to be really gross, and that means big. Right?
I guess. I mean, they used to do this stuff on like Fear Factor, right?
$1 million?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like $100 million. Like, because you said there's no amount of money, so like $1 billion. Like, you can buy a lot of mouthwash with $1 billion.
It's true.
All
right, maybe, okay, so the other piece of this is anonymity. I would not want anybody to know that that's how I got that money.
Oh, we can't film this and put it on the internet? This can't be like episode 51 of our show? We're going to have to do something big for 75 or 100, like,
I don't know.
That's all I'm saying.
I can't imagine who the sponsor is that they would give us $1 billion.
I mean, I'll take it, so just sign me up. Put me on the video.
If we're talking about $1 billion, yeah, I'd probably be into.
I just want to throw that out there. If you have these investors. If you got the spider investing connection, I'm your eater.
I somehow knew that you would be on board, but I didn't anticipate exactly how on board you would be.
Yeah, if you remember our last episode, Laura's our outdoorsy type.
Yes,
I'm all about mind over matter. Like, let's just, I don't know.
Mind over matter. I like that in theory.
I just put myself in like another place for a little while. I'll get a spider,
Just compartmentalize and disassociate. Wow.
If it's gonna if I'm gonna get a bunch of money, sure.
Yeah.
Think about all the things you could do with that money.
It's true. We're sitting here, I'm thinking about all the things you could do. Like, you could pay off your house. You could, college is paid for however many kids you have, just done, paid for. Yeah. But man.
And then, like, your great-grandkids can be like, all of this because great-great-grandma Kate ate a spider.
Such a cool story.
I know, right?
I'm like... That's
and then
awesome.
Forever, like your family would talk about it, they'd be like, how did you guys make your money? Oh,
And then you could totally convince your grandkids that you are Spider-Woman. Like, I ate one, now I have these powers, and I feel like it'd be more believable.
Wow.
It'd be more believable.
I suppose. Mm-hmm. All right.
I mean, and maybe you would be. Maybe you'd get those powers.
I don't know if anybody's ever tried it, so yeah, maybe.
I'm sure somebody has tried it.
Yeah.
All right, so Laura, why don't you refresh the memory of our audience? Tell them what you do for a living.
So I'm in the Labor and Employment Department of Archer Law. I've been there since 2010. I counsel employers, public entities, and private entities on all of the labor and employment laws. But more recently, I've just been doing tons of workplace investigations into employee misconduct, given the MeToo movement. Mm-hmm. And then also, I am a member of our Cannabis law group, and I have just been on the speaking tour talking to employers about how to deal with both the expansion of the medical marijuana program in New Jersey as well as the new legislation that's coming down the pipeline, pun intended, to legalize marijuana for adult use, which has been super fun. I'm completely geeking out on this cannabis law stuff because I think it's the only time in our lives we're ever going to see something this interesting
and this
big. Legal on the federal level, not, legal on the state level, and just being in that between that rock and a hard place of how to deal with that.
So how are you telling employers they should deal with it?
Stop freaking out, man. So seriously, I've been getting calls at just left and right and just doing all these speeches, and people are absolutely freaking out. Like, I can't even tell you about, well, I guess I can. It's a podcast, that's why I'm here. But I can tell you about these people that are coming to these presentations and just losing their minds because they think everyone's going to come to work high. They think the workplace, there's no way they're going to be able to keep it safe. And just that, honestly, that the world is ending and they're going to be babies addicted to drugs all over the place.
Oh, my God.
True. Actual comment. I had a woman who was very emotional and very upset and telling me, do you realize what you're doing? Babies are going to be addicted to drugs after this.
Are you personally legalizing marijuana?
No.
No. So,
Not at all. And, the thing is, regardless of your personal beliefs, what I'm trying to get employers, to understand is this is coming.
Right.
This is coming down the road, and you're going to need to deal with it. So get your head out of the sand and stop worrying about the fact that you don't support it, if for those that don't support it, and figure out what to do about it. And the thing is, what I keep telling employers is you're doing it already. Your people are already high. Right? So the legislation is not necessarily going to change that, or employers are already dealing with employees that are prescribed Percocet and OxyContin and tons of impairing drugs that they deal with all the time. So a lot of employers already have the tools to deal with this. They just can't get it out of their minds that those tools apply to this situation.
But what are the tools? How does somebody... I mean, I happen to know the answer to this because I did listen to you speak, but for the sake of our podcast audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, so look, just like an employee who gets in an accident is prescribed Percocet, what is a best practices for employers to do? Well, first of all, you should have a drug and alcohol policy that says that if you're going to be under the impairing influence of any prescription, you need to report it and let us know, if it's something that you can't perform your job duties safely, you have to let the employer know that you're going to be under that prescription. You can have a drug testing policy, that's fine, under the old laws and the new. And basically you just regulate, the most important things for employers to focus on is their safety-sensitive functions.
Right.
So just because the medical marijuana program is expanding and more employees are going to be prescribed medical marijuana doesn't mean that you should let someone operate a forklift while under the influence of marijuana or Percocet or anything else. I mean, obviously that's not a good idea. Get them off the forklift. But just treat it the same way that you would as if they were on Percocet. Get them off the forklift, give them whatever accommodation you need to give them under the disabilities laws, and drug test them to make sure, that they continue to be safe about it. But yeah, I mean, those have always been the rules, and people just, for whatever reason, when it comes to marijuana, they just have this different image in their head. They can't get over it that, oh, this is a prescription now.
Mm-hmm.
We're accepting this as a drug that has medicinal value now.
Yeah.
And what about if and when legal marijuana, prescription or not, happens? What do employers need to know when that happens?
Yeah, so it's going to depend on the language of the bill that ultimately gets passed. But what's in the bill right now that's being considered, that employers need to know about, is there's language that says that employers can't take an adverse action against an employee just because they have it in their system. Okay, so let's pretend you're an employer that pre-screens everybody for drugs before you bring them on as an employee. Pre-screens all your applicants. If somebody tests positive, under the new bill, you might not be able to hold that against them in your hiring decision. And what the language says is the only circumstances in which you can hold it against them is if it's rationally related to the position, which isn't defined, but that probably means it's a safety-sensitive function, like a forklift operator or a driver of an automobile or, in a daycare with children, something like that. Or if it would cause the employer to lose a federal contract or federal funding. So if you're a government contractor and you have, employees who are regulated under the Department of Transportation regs, for example, those employees have to undergo regular drug testing per the DOT regulations. The state law is not going to change that. The federal law is always going to control there. But in any other circumstances, if you're hiring somebody that's not, going to be working on a federal contract, isn't going to affect the employer's federal funding prospects, and isn't in like a safety-sensitive function, it's completely unrelated to their job if they're high or not, all those jobs, then under the language of the bill, you can't hold it against them. You have to hire them if you're going to hire them anyway, assuming they were otherwise qualified.
Is it safe to argue that in the same way that people go home at night and have a glass of wine, people who smoke now will continue to smoke when it becomes legal and probably won't be smoking before work the same way that people don't get drunk before work?
Yeah.
And you just need to watch your employees and document what you see and...
Right. Yeah. So I joke. I like to joke that your people are already high. But the reason I say that is because there's no reason to believe that just because we legalize this, all of a sudden, best employers are going to be like, you know what?
Time to go over the deep end.
I'm getting high. all the time. I'm coming to work high.
This is what I've been waiting for.
This is
Doing
what
it
I'm
while I'm
doing,
here.
right? There's just no reason to believe that. And in fact, there have been studies that have been done in the other states that have legalized it for recreational use that have found that consumption does not increase with legalization, at least in those few studies that have been done so far. So that's why I keep telling people, just relax. Like your good employees are still going to be your good employees. Like this is not going to change anything, you know, most likely. Now, is there going to be that guy? And I say guy because usually it's the boys. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
Yeah, like there's going to be that guy, like who's an idiot, you know, who decides like, oh, it's legal. I can be at work like this now. I mean, but you can still deal with them. I mean, the law doesn't say that you can't deal with that employee. There's absolutely nothing in the medicinal marijuana law or in the bills that are being considered that say that you have to accommodate medicinal marijuana use or any kind of marijuana use on work time.
Right.
Absolutely nothing. So you can tell your people, no matter what, prescription or not, you can't do it while you're working, and you can't have it in my building. Mm-hmm. That's totally fair. So like you said, you just increase monitoring if you're suspicious. You know, watch your people. If they're eating lots of cookies, pull them over.
I love it.
You know?
Oh my goodness.
No, if there's, you know, just like what employers do with alcohol suspicion. Like if people are slurring their words, if their eyes are bloodshot.
I mean, there's a certain stereotype of a stoner. We all
You know it when
kind
you
of
see
know
it. It's like pornography.
Right, that's right.
I got it in.
There you go.
Hopefully I get that rating right.
Nicely done. Nicely
We can't go up much higher. I don't think they would support us at R. You know? I think we'd have to have
Fair
a
enough.
talking to over there.
There'd be a conversation, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, if people look like they're impaired, then and they're doing something that's safety sensitive, that's a completely fair basis for employers to send the employee for a drug test. Where employers have to be cautious is they got to be consistent across the board. So, and one thing, you know, that I'm worried about is employers are going to have managers that have preconceived ideas about what types of people use drugs, ill-advised preconceived ideas, and then they're going to enforce their policies inconsistently. So in other words, they're only going to drug test all the Hispanic employees or the African-American employees. And then you have a very legitimate
Or
discrimination.
people like me that just eat a lot of cookies.
It could be you. Unfortunately for you, eating lots of cookies is not a protected class under the discrimination laws, but it should. Cookie Monster probably feels.
There you go.
Badly about that. Side note: do you want to know an Oreo cookie?
I thought this was going in a different direction, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
I love Oreos.
Sure, me too.
Confession.
Yeah.
I have a very sophisticated approach to Oreo eating.
Okay.
Wait
Which
to
is
hear
that
this.
as I'm dunking one, I have the other cookie in my hand, and as I'm eating this one, I dunk
Wow.
this one. So there's no gap in the interval between the Oreo.
Wow, I thought you were gonna like give me some kind of tip on like getting all the cream on one
No.
side or the other. Or whatever.
No, that's it.
This is just like how you eat more faster. Like, I think we were talking on one of our last
is
couple episodes
sober
about
Oreo
like
eating.
wolfing down food and how you
Yeah.
should really savor your food and like take your slow, deliberate bites, taste your stuff. That goes into that same category of just like
My
I am
friends
not
know
somebody
this
who
about me.
savors my food. I'm somebody who inhales my food.
It's true.
So, are you a traditionalist, like the chocolate cookie with the cream filling, or
Yeah, but double stuffed.
Double stuffed.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I can't stand anybody that would. No, I don't want anything else but double stuffed Oreo.
When we had Bill Spady on this show, I was talking about Oreos being one of my favorite cereals. Have you ever
Yeah.
tried that?
No.
Oh, definitely give it a shot because they
Okay.
brought it back. It was
I didn't
banned
even
for a
know.
long time or something. You could only get it in South Korea. But now,
doesn't speak well to what you would
That's right.
expect inside, right?
I know, right? But like,
Why only South Korea?
because they have an appreciation for good food there, apparently. I
I was
don't know.
thinking maybe that the Food and Drug Administration here in this country was
Oh,
like,
that was probably it, though, yeah.
what is it here again?
So they did change the recipe, but yeah, like it's still really good. So give it a shot.
I wonder if they smuggle that into North Korea.
I don't know. I mean, if there's one thing that you would want, that would be worth it.
Jeez.
Yeah, given the repercussions of smuggling anything into or out of North Korea, I
Yeah.
would say doubtful.
Yeah.
But like I said, you know, if there was one thing, that would be the one I'd want them to do.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Love it.
Anyway,
All right.
sorry.
Anyway,
No,
no,
I
that's
don't know how I
okay.
got
That's okay.
that Oreo tip, but
I don't remember, but that's okay. Anything else we need to know about legal weed
it's coming. Get ready.
this year?
I think this year.
Really?
Yeah, I think this year.
I kept hearing they were maybe thinking about putting it on the ballot or something, but no?
So I think that before that happens, it will go to a vote. And if the vote fails, that's just I don't know for sure, but that's just my guess that it'll go on the ballot. And I mean, polling shows that the majority of the public is in support of it. So
I think the other thing I read was that even if it does get approved, 2019 probably would be too early for when you start to see it really like hitting. Is that maybe like what you're hearing?
Yeah, I mean, so there's, in the language that's being kicked around, some of the provisions wouldn't go into effect for 365 days, and they got to build up the infrastructure. I mean, it's definitely not anything that's going to happen overnight. What is happening already is the medical program is expanding rapidly. So, when Christie was governor, for the entire time that he was governor, since the bill was passed in 2010, there were only 14,000 total patients, and right now I think we're approaching 50,000. So, and it's and adding about 500 new patients a week, and doubled the number of dispensaries from 6 to 12 that have licenses. And now, Governor Murphy just announced that he's gonna issue another round of licenses, and we'll see how many that is. But yeah, I mean, the medical program is expanding rapidly, which is why I actually started speaking about this topic back in 2010, but thinking that like this was going to be an imminent thing that employers were going to have to deal with. But then it was so slow to get implemented that really not too many employers were facing this issue, just because of the patient numbers, right? If there's only 14,000, that means there's not that many places that they work. But now, as the patient numbers rise, you're going to have more and more employers that are facing this issue where employee comes in and says, "Here's my prescription card. I'm going to fail your drug test. Heads up." But, I do it on Friday, I don't come to work impaired, and I don't have a safety sensitive function. And that's going to be the issue that employers are going to have to figure out how to navigate. And March 27th, the appellate division came out with a really important decision that, like I said, I'm geeking out over this. I was like so nerdy and excited. I'm like, it's here. What I've been telling people is coming. But the appellate division looked for the first time at the issue of how does the medical marijuana law interact with the law against discrimination, and address the question of, do employers need to accommodate medical marijuana use for employees who have disabilities, right, within the meaning of the law. And what happened there was, at the trial court level, this was an employee who worked as a funeral director. And he was diagnosed with cancer. He was prescribed marijuana as part of his treatment regime. He told his employer, said, "I'm prescribed marijuana. I'm not going to use it at work. I'm only going to use it during off hours, and it's not going to impair my ability to do my job." And they said, okay. The next year, the guy was in a company car, and somebody else, not him, blew through a stop sign and T-boned him. Oof. So he gets hurt. He goes to the emergency room. He tells, at a normal course, they would do a drug test. But he tells the doctor, "Look, I have a prescription. I use medical marijuana. I'm going to fail the test." And the doctor says, "No problem. We don't need to do the test because I can tell just from examining you that you're not under the influence." So the employer, later that day, still insists that he undergo a drug test. And he agrees because the employer insists, and obviously fails a drug test because, like he said, he's using medical marijuana. And then his boss kind of tells him at first, like, "Don't worry, you're going to be fine. It's going to be fine." But then later tells him, at least according to the lawsuit, that corporate couldn't handle his medical marijuana use. So they terminate him, and they say in the termination letter that he's being terminated because he failed to report to his supervisor that he was under the influence of a drug that could impair his ability to perform his job duties safely. So the employer here was they didn't say, "We're firing you because you used medical marijuana or because you failed the drug test, but because you failed to report." So in my legal opinion, they were nervous about, what they were saying and did that for strategic moves. And that worked at the trial level. The trial level court said, "Look, there's nothing in the medical marijuana law that provides employment protections to employees." So the trial court dismissed this guy's claim for wrongful termination on the basis of his disability. And then he appealed and went to the appellate division. And the appellate division completely disagreed with the trial court and said, just because the medical marijuana law doesn't build in job protection, right, for an employee that's using medical marijuana, doesn't mean the disability laws don't require that. And if you think about it, right, so it would be weird in any other circumstance for us to agree that an employer could hold it against an employee for their treatment, but not for the underlying disability, right? Like, so we all agree that an employer can't fire somebody because they're paralyzed. Of course, we wouldn't say an employer could fire somebody because they're in a wheelchair. We wouldn't say that's okay. So in the same respect, right, this funeral home couldn't fire this guy because of his cancer. So the question is, well, what about his medical marijuana use? That's the treatment for the cancer. Can you separate those two things? And the appellate division said, in fact, the disability laws may, they didn't say they do, but may require employers to accommodate that use if it's during non-working hours and isn't done on the premises or anything like that and doesn't impair their ability to do their job. So they sent it back to the trial court. So we'll see where it goes, but I can't wait. But no, seriously, because this is the case that, employers right now are thinking, I don't care, it's illegal under the federal level, there's nothing I have to do. It's like, well, you could be this funeral home that's stuck in this really tough spot because there is no guidance. And it's a reasonable position, right? To think like, why should we accommodate an illegal drug? But here they are now in court being decided for the first time, a matter of first impression that could find, that what they did was unlawful. So it's a tough, it's so fun.
It just occurred to me that alcohol was made illegal in 1919. And here we are 100 years later getting ready to legalize pot.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
A lot can change in a century, I guess.
Yeah, and it's happening fast. And there's a lot more industries that were anti-marijuana legalization, maybe even more than alcohol. So
yeah.
Maybe alcohol is the biggest one.
Well, it's funny because, they say that pot is not addictive in the same way that alcohol is addictive. Like, it can be, alcohol is chemically addictive, and pot is mostly, like, mentally or psychologically addictive. So it's interesting that as a chemical addiction, we have way less problem with alcohol than we do with pot.
Yeah, it's just society.
I was going to say part of that might be because of the testing. Like, so that guy failed the test because on Friday he did it, whereas like alcohol, we know. Like, we have a test that says like, you are impaired or you're not impaired.
Because it's chemical.
Yeah, the lack of an impairment test is a real problem. And I think there's a lot of people that are working on this. So I always joke when I do these speeches, I'm like, look, if you can figure out this impairment test, call me because I'm going to give you a bunch of money. Mistake, because I've gotten so many calls about people like, I got this idea.
You should record some of them, put them on YouTube. I mean, that by itself
That'd be hilarious.
I just need some money.
Internet gold right there.
It is this whole journey into this new area of law for me has been fun because I meet like really serious investors and patients with like absolutely heartbreaking stories that have you in tears, and then doctors that are super interesting to listen to, and then there's like that one guy that's like got really red eyes and just like and like a bright green suit, and he, and I did have one person ask if I would deliver palm trees to his home. So
wow,
there's that. So you just meet the most interesting, full spectrum of.
But at least your job's not boring. You got that going for yourself.
I could say never.
Yeah.
I'm never bored at work.
No. Even before this, you weren't bored at work.
I'm never ever bored at work. You can
especially
always count.
Before this. I mean, you saw that last episode we did.
Yeah.
You can always count on people to do insane things at work. And now this maybe this will calm it down a little bit. You never know.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
It would actually, yeah.
Maybe you want your employees to come to work high.
I don't know about that.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a position the BIA could take.
Just kidding.
What is that disclaimer? The opinions expressed in this podcast are not.
Yeah.
Nor are they Archer laws.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Anything else, or should we take a quick break?
I think that's it on the marijuana front.
All right. Any crazy HR people stories you want to drop on us?
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing a lot of investigations in the wake of the MeToo movement. Just so many. I guess I'm trying to think of a specific example. I guess the most interesting thing that just keeps happening to me lately is I keep meeting with men who are telling me how afraid they are now to talk to women. Wow. And I think I keep repeatedly hearing, well, then what can we talk about at work?
I don't know. We've been talking about the Gumby porn.
But I feel like I need to create a list of like acceptable topics at work, like baseball or the weather or anything other than sex. Like it's kind of not that.
It's kind of not that hard.
Kind of not that hard.
Yeah. Somebody, oh my goodness, a friend of a friend was telling me that her boss said to her, I mean, like, it's just not safe for men anymore.
Yeah.
And she looked at him and she didn't say it out loud, of course, because it's her boss, but she thought to herself, imagine how women have felt for like the last 1,000 years, maybe.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I've had that exact conversation many times, but one was, this gentleman who just kept telling me, like, I don't invite my female employees to any bars anymore because, you know, you never know what you can say. You know, and we had to have a long talk about how it's really not that hard to know what to say and what not to say. And also, welcome to the world of professional women where we are constantly worried about everything that comes out of our mouth for fear that maybe it could be misinterpreted as flirting or something inappropriate or, or something else. So, yeah. Sorry, boys. Sorry, I'm not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Like, the world is changing for the better.
Yeah. Just like, you know, don't ask them out.
Right. Like, it's super easy to just not talk about sex, right?
Like, yeah, don't send them pictures. You know?
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
It's so easy to just not send that text, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I was doing, and I can't disclose too much, but I was doing an investigation I was investigating a male individual for misconduct, and during the course of the investigation, he sent me a photograph.
Are you kidding?
Why?
He was clothed, but
Okay.
it was, why was my question as well.
Like, is he like trying to defend himself? Like, look, this is what I sent her.
No.
Not so bad, right?
Like a
Clothes
selfie?
were on.
No.
A selfie?
Yeah. That's it.
Why?
I don't know. I'm a lawyer. You know? So,
Like, unless you guys are connected on Snapchat for that particular reason,
yeah.
there's never any...
No. I guarantee you there's no connection.
That's what I mean. Like, obviously, but unless that is the case...
Yeah.
Were you defending him or the
No.
other person?
No, I was just doing an objective investigation to see if misconduct had happened or not.
Yeah.
But then actually I had to get another attorney involved because I felt like I couldn't be as objective anymore. Because I'm like, I don't know.
Seems like a dirtbag to me. I don't know.
I don't know what to do here. I mean, I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but I feel like I should have someone else weigh in on this, you know, from an objective standpoint. So.
I'm sorry. I'm just
No, right?
my mind away.
It's shocking. It's constantly I'm constantly shocked at the things that you have to tell people not to do, or like things that would be like a poor choice. You know, milk was a poor choice.
Milk was a poor choice.
It's an Anchorman reference.
Oh.
But yeah, sending photos is typically a poor choice to the attorney investigating you for misconduct. Or I shouldn't say any coworkers. It's okay to send photographs as long as they're appropriate. But
Right. But maybe not to the attorney who's investigating you for possible misconduct.
yeah,
Might be frowned upon.
it could be.
Wow.
Yeah.
It continues to amaze me that some people don't get that the internet is forever.
Forever. Yeah.
And that includes cell phones. Like, that includes
I
text
know.
messages.
I
Like,
know.
there are forensic investigators who can find...
Yeah. I don't know. If I told you the story? So my family is in the ice cream business.
Oh.
No, I
I did not know that. No.
Okay. So my family's been in the ice cream business for 40 years.
And why would you get out of that and go
How
to
on
the lawyer?
earth did you become a lawyer?
Biggest
Why?
mistake ever. I went to law
Exactly.
school because I wanted to ultimately join the family business. And I thought, well, I can't just walk into the family business with no tools.
Sure.
Like, I don't want to just be, you know, the daughter of the owner. So I thought I'll go to law school and I'll learn that because I don't have any lawyers in my family. And I'll come back. And then I went to law school and I never went back. Just life happened. But anyway, so I, though, was a manager of about 30 teenage girls for a period of like 10 years before I went to law school. and saw all kinds of crazy things. But these girls were like my little sisters because, you know, it was a small family business. Like, we got along really well, and, you know, they were a couple years younger than me. So they used to come to me about all sorts of personal things. But at one point, one of them goes on Facebook and posts a picture of herself smoking a blunt in her uniform.
Oh, no.
And so I'm like, and we were friends on Facebook.
So you saw it.
And so, of course, I see it, and I'm beside myself. I'm freaking out because I'm like, don't do drugs. If you do drugs, don't let anyone take a picture of you. And
don't put a picture of yourself breaking the law on the internet.
Don't put it on social media, and don't wear your work uniform while you're doing it. Like, so many, like, I let
so many don'ts.
I, like, have failed this little sister in so many respects. But, yeah, forever, right? I mean, she was young. I mean, maybe 15 or 16 at the time. So, you know, they're just not thinking, like,
Right.
this is going to affect the rest of my
Brain's not fully cooked yet
life,
at that age.
She's doing great, by the way.
That's good.
No, I mean that. She's doing great.
Great.
All right.
Yeah, but it was scary. Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're going to take a quick break, and then we come back. We're going to play Awful or Awesome. And we're back, and it is now time to play Awful or Awesome. It's my favorite game. So for those of you who don't know how it's played, I'm going to name 3 things, and we each have to decide relatively quickly if they're awful or awesome and be prepared to defend our answers.
Cool.
Ready? All right, first up, salt lamps.
Awful.
Oh my God. Tell me why. You think they're a scam?
Yeah.
Hoax?
Yes. All of it. I'm a very skeptical person.
I am too.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
I bought one recently though because they were only $10.
You know what?
It is very pretty.
They are pretty.
They're really pretty.
They
So
are
for $10,
pretty.
I was like, eh.
Yeah.
And it is actually made of salt, which I didn't expect.
Yeah. It flakes off a little bit.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Right? You have to clean over there a lot.
I was gonna say that
They're awful.
I actually licked my finger and like
that's
tasted
funny.
it. Yeah, and it is salty.
I don't think I've ever tried to taste one of my lamps before.
I mean, it was a salt lamp, so I wondered if it was really made of salt.
I love
Okay.
lamp.
See, I just assumed that like maybe there was salt in there, but that they coated it with something.
No,
It was like,
it's not coated. It's
Wow.
like this
No.
rock thing.
It's
that,
gonna, you know, rid you of your toxins.
sure. I don't know, like
such a baloney, right?
I am
I
a very
can't
skeptical
take it. I don't
person.
know.
Me too.
But like Tara brought one home, and it was just sitting there on in the dining room, and she put like flowers that she got next to it. And I'm not kidding around. Like those flowers had an unnatural life after that. Like I don't know.
Really?
Good or bad?
I could have been a coincidence.
Good.
You know.
Good.
He's saying that they lived forever.
Yeah, it was like I don't even want to. I don't want to exaggerate, but I don't remember. Like they were there forever.
So you got to
Like,
get like a salt lamp on your belt. You know?
Yeah, like just carry it around with me all the time.
You might as well just play the odds.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I heard you're playing the lottery. I mean,
We were talking about office lottery pools before we came in. Yeah, like your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't do the lottery. I don't play the lottery, but you have me a little bit convinced that next time the pool happens, I will probably participate, because if I'm the only person that is not a part of this winning lottery thing, I'm gonna be upset.
I don't play the lottery in my personal life, but here,
Right,
I know, like just something about like the entire, like even just the smallest, tiniest chance that the entire office, but me, could win like however much money, like millions of dollars, you know, like, and not even so much like I love all of you. So it's not even like I would be like, I hate those guys and all their money. It's more everybody you know coming up to you and being like, oh my gosh, I heard on the TV that NJBIA won the lottery. And you have to be like, actually, I didn't
participate.
I wasn't in that one. And then they'll look like,
the pity.
Oh.
You called it loser insurance.
Loser insurance.
I love it.
That's what I do. It's $2 every time one of these like big jackpots comes up. So for that, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you talked me into it. I will forevermore.
but maybe you would like have the forever sympathy of so many people. Like,
But do I really need that? Like, do I really need that when like half the staff like quits their job on Monday because like now they don't need to work and like I didn't, you know? So
And life gets exponentially more difficult because so many people are gone.
Yeah. At least if like I won with all of you and you all quit your jobs and like started hanging out on like yachts and stuff, I could go with you, you know? Yeah.
So would you quit if you won?
Probably not.
I don't think I would
like
either.
it here, you know?
Yeah, I love my job.
But it would still, I'd still get that stuff from all your friends being like, congratulations!
You wouldn't, if like you made enough money to not work at
Well, how much are we talking about, you know? I don't know, like, do you really want to just like sit around and do nothing?
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't think I could.
maybe for a month, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like, probably get old.
Okay, but there would be, so you know how you have days, like good days and bad days, and the first time that a really bad day hit,
Right.
and like in the past, man, I wish I could, you know, but you never could before, but now that you can, I wonder how many people would be like, I'm out.
Out. Yeah. I think I would just like bring it back, bring the hours back, and just do like the really fun, ridiculous cases. And then, yeah.
You work a lot, you're a lawyer.
It's true.
How many hours a week do you think you work?
I don't know. Too many.
But like not
It's
40,
fun.
obviously.
No, not
Like,
40.
not
Ever. But
80.
it's very roller coastery.
Okay.
Like, yes, there's, crazy times. I mean, this year has been nutty because the Equal Pay Act, the paid sick leave, the paid family leave. I mean, obviously the marijuana stuff that we talked about, I mean, everything's changing. So, yeah, more hours recently. But
All right.
anyway.
So that was Salt Lambs. That we went off the rails a little bit there. That's fine though.
It's okay.
Next one is bowling.
Awful.
Awful. What?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I'm not a big fan.
I was going to say love it.
Is that like the one indoor activity you like?
I mean, you get to wear those fun shoes. You get to hang out and drink
Are
with
they
all
really
your
fun?
friends. I think they're kind of fun.
Have you ever danced in bowling shoes?
Yeah, they're so slippery.
All right, other than
can do the
I
moonwalk.
actually bowled a strike kind of a victory
Right.
dance.
I'm not necessarily talking about like the act of bowling and like enjoying the game and being competitive.
Isn't that what you were just
I like that,
bowling?
All right, yeah, it's fine. But like, I just think the camaraderie of having a couple of beers with friends and bowling alley. I don't know, the lanes, the junk food. I think it's fun.
All right, fine. That stuff is fun, but like, do you need bowling to do that?
Well, where else are you gonna go to do that though?
Happy hour? What
like
you just said was
activities.
hanging out with friends and drinking a couple drinks. Like, you need bowling to do
But it's
that?
different though.
Like cornhole. Do you play cornhole?
When it's there. Like our
Yeah.
company picnics and stuff.
Bowling is... It's
kinda like that.
It's just another activity. But I dance the entire time when I'm bowling because the shoes make me feel coordinated.
They have that magical effect.
yeah, every once in a while, a
I'm like
bowling
that
alley.
idiot being like, I can moonwalk. I can't.
If there was ever going to be a surface where you could maybe pull it off, like,
That's
they
it.
buff those things with wax and everything, right?
That's totally true.
Yeah.
Yeah, every once in a while, a bowling alley will have karaoke. And it's like this perfect, beautiful storm of happiness for me.
I don't think I've ever seen a
sounds
bowling alley with
amazing.
karaoke. That
Me
sounds
neither.
awesome. Yeah.
I'd like to know more about that.
I know, right? I know. If I ever discover one again, I will inform you.
Colonial
Count me in.
has laser tag.
Yes, that place is
Really?
objectively amazing.
My husband and I have been known to, play laser tag with random children that we don't know.
Yeah.
And they destroy us. They're so much better.
Really? Oh, we could save this for another show, but I take laser tag way too seriously. The last time I was there, we were actually like, they show you a video beforehand about how you have to attack the other team's base,
Right.
but they don't tell you where the base is. So like, I asked and they couldn't tell us. So I get in there and we all, fan out and I see the base. So I go, hey, it's over here. And the referee is standing right behind me, unbeknownst to me. So I accidentally punched him in the mouth.
Oh, no!
Everywhere. And like, because I take laser tag way too seriously, when I kept saying like, guys, we need to stop, the referee is hurt, they thought I was like,
Messing with them?
So they all came in hard and were like, oh, well, wait a minute.
I thought you were going to say you take it so seriously that you were like still...
Stepping on the guy. Like,
Out of my way!
No, I have way too many. We'll save it for another episode, but I have way too many laser tag stories. So.
Good God.
Yeah.
All right.
It's good.
Last one is ziplining.
Awesome.
Awful.
I think it's kind of fun. Really?
I don't know, like ziplining is just...
You hate fun, apparently.
I do.
you just hate
I do. I don't know, like it's you grab the thing and you, I don't know.
Zip down the
Zip
line.
from-
You do what humanity's been trying to do forever, which is fly.
That's
Okay.
basically it, yeah. Like,
Right.
it feels like flying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was at I don't remember the name of it. It used to be called Action Park. And they had kind of like a mini zip lining thing where you like zip line and then you let go and you fall in some water. That was fun, but
You fall in some water.
yeah, so like you're zip lining and then at some point you let go and there's like a pool underneath you.
Oh.
It sounds more fun than I think I'm making it out, or it is more fun than I'm making it out, but yeah.
I guess. I mean, if you want to fall in the pool and like be wet, then I guess that makes
Well, I
sense.
mean, it's more fun than just like holding onto the thing and letting go safely onto some land, right?
I don't think Kate's in for the water.
No, I don't think I'm in for the water.
She just wants to fly.
Sure.
I got it.
Skydiving is great for that. You know? No.
Definitely not.
Bungee jumping?
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do any of that.
That sounds
dangerous
bungee jumping to me
and
was
scary and
crazy.
awful.
I feel like that's gonna hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would skydive before bungee jumping. For sure.
Really?
Yeah.
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 It's a lot safer. I don't know, because it's you can control a lot more than you can control the rubber band or whatever.
Have you guys seen these videos on YouTube about the guys in the wingsuits? I shouldn't say guys, girls too. But do you know what I'm talking about?
Thank you. Finally.
Yeah.
No.
So they're base jumpers, but they have these suits that have wings.
Does
Like
that
the
work?
flying squirrel?
Yes, it works. It's crazy. They have parachutes, but they just they release them until like way late. And people are really crazy. So they hang all these balloons off this cliffside, and they fly down, and they have pins, and as they go, they pop the balloons. It's insane. Look it up on YouTube. It's amazing.
Wow.
They're called squirrel suits or wing suits.
I don't know that I'd want to be flying so close to a cliffside that I could, with a pin, pop some balloons.
And
sounds awful.
how do you practice that?
Yeah.
Like, especially the
question.
aerodynamics of like when you get close to a wall, like it's gonna suck you in. I would think a little bit.
Yeah, that sounds
So
awful.
yeah, no, these people are.
I thought the same thing about the non-tandem skydive. Like, when you go when I went skydiving, they strapped another person, an expert, onto my back.
Nice.
But like, how do you practice that first time that they're like,
Right.
today,
You're on your own.
no guy, just you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I definitely couldn't do it, but I'm really happy that people in the world are crazy enough to do that. The squirrel suit things. That at least I can watch.
I gotta
videos
look
of it
this
on
up.
YouTube.
Like, it's amazing to me that really works.
It's incredible.
Huh?
It's
It doesn't seem like it would.
I know,
seem
right?
like
That's
it
why
would
that's
work.
why it amazes me.
I mean,
yeah.
these people are crazy.
I want to know the first person who tried it and was like, yeah, actually, it worked.
Yeah.
You know?
Seriously, I keep thinking about that scene from Friends from College where Marianne has these friends who are parachuting off of the skyscrapers in New York, and one of them doesn't make it.
Oh yeah, no, there are people who don't make it.
Right? Like-
yeah, there are those videos too. Don't look those up.
Shouldn't
But,
laugh.
yeah.
It's horrible.
It's awful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's a little too risky for me.
Yeah, I agree. If I had no family or
Right.
so I don't know, maybe
No
there's
will to
some
live,
scenario.
sort
Yeah.
of.
Or like a fatal illness that
Right.
Maybe.
If I had to start checking things off a bucket list because
it'd be the last thing.
right, exactly.
But it would be there?
Yeah.
Okay.
The squirrel suit thing would be there.
I mean, in very particular circumstances where I knew tomorrow was my last day, so
Okay.
maybe, and I felt physically able to maneuver. I don't know.
This actually creates a nice segue into our
It
next
does.
question.
Go ahead.
If you could give your younger self, one piece of advice, such as don't jump off a cliff with a squirrel suit until you know you're going to die, what would that one piece of advice be?
God, man, that's hard.
I know.
That's really hard. Stick with ice cream.
Stick with ice cream.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I guess the squirrel suit is close to the top, or only eat a spider if they're going to give you $100,000 first.
So that's your base,
Get the money.
$100,000.
Get the money first.
$999 or $99,000, no good.
But I want it I want the check in my hand before I'm gonna do that.
Same time. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would want cash.
Yeah,
I would want cash because
a good idea.
I wouldn't want to have to then work for it. I would then have to take it to the bank and sign the back of it and hand it. I just want the cash.
Sign the back.
I guess it's too
why
big
we have
for
mobile deposit
It's too
these
big.
days.
It's too big for mobile deposit.
That's true. You're right. Yeah.
I've never tried mobile deposit.
What?
Oh,
I
it's
know.
totally a lifesaver.
Yeah.
I know.
Changed my
I feel
whole
like.
life.
Did it really?
Well, no, not my whole life. But having getting married and having a daughter, my career, those things. But the mobile deposit is close.
Super convenient then, huh?
If you could go back to your younger self and say, Kate, use mobile.
Get on this train earlier. Yeah, that would probably be mine. Mobile deposit was around for a good 4 or 5 years, maybe even longer before I got on that train. And now I'm just I do not miss driving to the bank.
I got a better one. I
Good.
just recently discovered peanut butter and jelly donuts.
Oh, wow.
I would go back and tell myself to find those much earlier.
Or make them. I don't even know where you would get a peanut butter and jelly.
Where do you
donut.
get them?
There's a place in Swedesboro called Sweetsboro Bakery.
Uh-huh.
And a guy in my office brings them every Friday to work. And they've changed my
Peanut
life.
butter and jelly donuts. All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know, it would be nice to be like peanut butter and chocolate donuts, but
Oh,
Yeah.
Nutella?
oh, is that what that is?
I don't know.
No, Nutella's
It
like
doesn't have to be, but
hazelnut.
Hazelnut's
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
But it would be nice.
Yeah.
I think any kind of homemade donut is wonderful.
Yeah.
There's a donut place in downtown St. Paul, and they have a creme brulee donut, and I swear to God, it's a donut that's filled with the cream and the creme brulee, and then they blowtorch the top of it so that the glaze is like, oh.
What a tease. St. Paul, Minnesota?
Yeah.
So, like, none of our listeners.
Nope.
Yeah.
I mean,
sorry.
some of them.
Some of them, sure.
of 'em.
Yeah.
Donut, do this to us.
Donut.
PG.
All right.
And it's PG.
Love it.
All right. So, say somebody wants to get an HR lawyer or give you a call to maybe, like, talk about speaking on, you know, workplace marijuana issues. How can they get a hold of you?
Oh, that's easy. Email me, call me. llink@archerlaw.com. You can find my bio there with all my recent speaking engagements and what I do. But yeah, any employment or labor issue related to wage and hour or discrimination, harassment, or the marijuana stuff. And leaves of absence, that's a big one that people have a lot of hard time dealing with. That's I'm your girl for that.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. So I think that's our show.
That's our show.
Thank you to listeners and subscribers. We really appreciate the support.
Seriously, though, thank you for being here for 50 episodes. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
50
That's amazing.
episodes.
50
That's
episodes.
incredible to me.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group. I had so much trouble saying that the day that we were on the road. The official sponsor of the show. They do home, auto, and workers' comp. Check them out if you need some updated coverage. Thank you to Laura Link of Archer Law for joining us today for our 50th episode.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was so fun to have you again, as
Always.
always. Yeah. And we'll see you next time.